So I've had a few questions from people who are not exactly sure what exactly is production rate quoting. And today I'm going to tell you briefly a little bit about production rate quoting, and we'll get into perhaps why you should use this for your painting business. So first and foremost, production rate quoting is a way of quoting in which you look at the average amount of time it takes to complete a certain task for, again, the average painter. You're not looking to quote based on your fastest painter or your slowest painter, but you're looking to figure out what an average painter takes to complete a task. And then when you go ahead and do that, you look at it in terms of a measurable area. So that means a certain painter can complete a certain amount of a measurable area in a certain amount of time. And what this does for you is it allows you to understand how many hours exactly you should be allocating for a project. And that has a multitude of benefits. First and foremost, understanding how much to charge. Secondly, it allows you to schedule better. And it will ultimately give you the repeatability in your business that allows you to scale up and as well hand off the task of quoting to somebody else. So some basic production rates that we can look at, most walls or siding, we're usually ranging anywhere between 100 and 200 square feet per hour. And that is a first coat. So I'm here inside paintbidninja.com, and this allows you to calculate everything you need. So you can see, for example, here, I have the stucco surface, 3,000 square feet of that, and that is done at a rate of 150 square feet per hour on the first coat. And up here we have a second coat savings. So what that means is the amount of time that is allocated towards that first coat, 75% of that first coat time will be allocated towards your second coat and any subsequent coats if you add more coats. And if you feel otherwise, you can simply change this, make it 100%, or change it in any way you need. And the same thing occurs for linear. So we have, in this example, 200 linear feet of a fascia and wood trim. Here the production rate is 30 feet per hour. 30 feet can be done by an average painter in a 1 hour time frame. So again, because it would be faster on your second coat, and in this case we will be quoting for 2 coats. So the math would be to take your length, 200. We can do it together just so it makes sense. 200 divided by 30, and then multiply that. Take that answer, multiply that by 1.75. And the system here does a little bit of rounding, but it's 11 hours and 45 minutes. So rounding to the nearest 15 minutes. And when it comes to count, we do have the functionality here as well to do a price per item. But when you look at it items per hour, it's the same sort of situation. How many items can you do a first coat of in 1 hour? Can you do 3 of those items? Let's say you have some frames. Maybe that's already put in there, but let's say here, average. So an average frame, whether that's a wood frame or a window frame or a door frame, it's saying here you can complete 3 of those in an hour. So again, same thing, it'll do the calculation for you. When it comes to prep is looked up on an hourly basis. So this is counted out, and you do need to have some level of understanding of how much time you're going to be allocating on prep, or how much time prep takes you, or how much prep the client wants. So this becomes the trickiest portion of quoting when you've got everything else that's measured out. So prep can be variable because it's always based on the client's expectations, and that's a bit of a dance that you need to understand and document as best as you can and set the right expectations with the client. But ultimately, when you're going around, you're looking visually to see what different prep items are going to be required, and measuring as needed to do some math where applicable, but you're representing those in hours. So again, very, very simple to start quoting this way. When you're measuring, you either measure with a laser measure or you pace out a property. And by pace out a property, I mean you measure by walking. So a lot of people haven't necessarily experienced this, but try it yourself. Take a few steps and sort of average steps, and you'll find that each step that you take is approximately 3 feet. And you can train yourself to get pretty close to 3 feet if you're not entirely there at the beginning. So what you can do is walk one and count your steps, and then simply multiply the number of steps you take by 3. And that's a quick, easy method. So if I'm walking around a property and I take 15 steps, I'm multiplying that by 3. I'm typing 45 here. I'm looking at the height up to the soffit of the structure. So let's say in this particular case, it's 2 stories. I'm not gonna worry too much if it's 18 feet. I'm just gonna simply round to a story to 10 feet. So that's where I would put in 20. So 45 by 20. And that would be, let's say, one side of a house. And let's say you have multiple sides of the house. Maybe it's a box of a house. That's where you can kind of plug in a formula here. I can say the front and the back are 45 feet. Maybe the sides are 50. So I would go 45. I mean, obviously I can do that in my head, but it was 190. But just to demonstrate here, when the numbers get more complex, so you go 45 by 2 plus 50 by 2. And then multiply that by 20, and it will give you your result. And let's say I think I'm gonna move faster than this because this production rate is a little bit more of a brush and roll production rate. So let's say I'm gonna spray, I'm gonna spend a lot of time masking, then I might be going a bit quicker. So I can put that in, and then I can come down here and I can add masking. And let's say I know that's going to take me about a day or 2 to mask the whole property. So I'm going to put a day and a half for a 2-man crew, 24 hours. It's a big house. And there we go. So we're going to thoroughly mask it, and we are going to produce 250 square feet per hour on a first coat. Let me know if you have any questions, if you understand production rates a little bit more after that, and happy to answer any questions regarding your specific jobs and requirements that you might need to quote yourself and figure out what rates to apply. At the end of the day, charging your price on a painting project now is more about understanding what individual item will be priced at, or how much time it will take to do an individual item. So I see a lot of people getting very perplexed in terms of how to price a large job. This just breaks it down and it looks at it piece by piece by piece. So you don't have to stress about the bigger picture. You just look at it and it's one bite at a time, and you can quote anything. Anyways, thanks again, guys.